From the highlands of Kapchorwa to the mountains of the moon and the islands of Kalangala is an impactful story of resilient people who have tapped into their positive energy to change lives. This is the story of ActionAid's 30 years of service to humanity in Uganda. This self-realization that a little bit of help and a lot of ideas could change the country began from here in Mityana 3 decades ago. Faced with the reality of shepherding a congregation bedeviled in poverty, diseases, and a civil war, Bishop Yokana Mukasa knew that the solutions were not going to come easy. The solutions would come from across the border in Nairobi, Kenya, where people, pretty much under similar conditions, had been mobilized to do extraordinary things for their own good.
This is very important about ActionAid, which attracted me to them, that he didn't just give us the money, he also gave us technical support and guidance.
Kitemba, sometimes it was in the shadow of extinction. But as a result of the developments which have been made by ActionAid Uganda, Kitemba, it is a school which is almost, it has been turned into a model school.
We now have about 4 youths who learned how to make furniture. And they are there within us.
Before that, he used to torture me so much, could not even talk. If I tell him anything concerning these girls to go to school, he used to beat me. He tortures me, he could do quarrel the whole night.
In the early 80s, the conditions were deplorable. Systems had collapsed, and the government was almost absent. ActionAid had to start from the basics, like feeding people, building schools, health centers, as well as water points. That intervention, unsustainable as it may have appeared then, was crucial under the prevailing circumstances to create a springboard for people to move on. This was a time when driving from Mityana to Pundubujo would take days on a very rough road and a difficult terrain. It had to take an army of committed pioneer staff employees of ActionAid to access the remotest parts of the country.
Even from Mityana to Mbende those days, you'll take 2 days to go to Mbende those days. And for Bundibujo, you had to plan for 3 days going, 3 days coming. That was 6 days trip, so it wasn't that easy.
Below this mountain of Rwenzori are a people who had been marginalized and suffered from double jeopardy. The Babuisi had lost an identity. These people did not even have a Luwisi language orthography. Their children were being forced to learn in other languages. Mobilizing this community and establishing the first Luwisi dictionary was going to be key in dealing with them in a language they understand.
Local language, or let me say vernacular, is the medium of instruction from primary 1 up to primary 3. We have primary 1 up to P3 books, teachers and pupils in Luwisi.
The Prime Minister of the new Obudinja Cultural Institution looks back at the time when he worked as the local language coordinator with a sense of fulfillment that his people can now write and read in their own language. In fact, this identity is resulting in the Babuisi getting their own cultural leader, separate from Bakonzo and Batoro. Having restored their culture, it was much easier for the Babuisi women to start a robust saving culture in the mid-90s, which still runs today. Jetrid Turugurwa is a woman full of confidence because of the financial independence she has attained.
I'm now a woman with confidence because I can withdraw money from the circle and cater for my children. That gives you power.
The story of the Babuisi is similar to the other minority groups, the Benet in Dorobo community, who have fought for their land rights since 1936. Successive regimes have battled in Dorobo after turning the ancestral land on Mount Elgon into a forest reserve and later a national park. The empowerment they have received can make them move on their own in pursuit of justice. They have since won a consent judgment to set on these 6,000 hectares of land. The chairman of the Benet lobby group, Moses Mwanga, is confident that the land question will be settled once and for all.
As we talk, all the Benets, including those who have not gone to school, have now known that this is their land and they cannot travel to Kampala for advocacy. So the ActionAid helped us to sensitize the people, advocacy, to sensitize the people and then advocate for their land rights and other social rights.
With their work ethics and discipline, the Ndorobo have tilled the land and they are selling the produce to as far as South Sudan. For them, total victory is in sight. The Ndorobo are not alone in the quest for justice. The people of Kaweri, who were displaced by government and a private investor, they too have been marching along. This vast coffee plantation covering over 12 square miles displaced thousands of people and with the social amenities like schools and health centers. The displaced people have been in court for 11 years, but that has not stopped the lead of the Wake Up group to hope for a triumph.
This coffee, they love it because they know that one day it will become a property of either theirs or their children's property.
At the edge of the plantation is where Kitemba Primary School was relocated. The headmaster says this school that was almost to be forgotten is now surging forward. Again, this is an example of hope and great resilience by the people. The Babuisi, the Benet, and the people of Kaweri have a lot in common with the Girik River community in Kween district. These were displaced by the Pokoti cattle riders for several years. The Giriki community received the initial support to return to their land, and now an area that had only 3 houses 10 years ago is populated with over 700 people. To support this community is a health center and a primary school. Greek River Primary School was built by ActionAid and now is run by the local government. The government has since posted more teachers. These children were formerly studying under trees and shanty structures before the construction of Greek River Primary. With the increase in population, government has been forced to construct a bridge, the first of its kind on Greek River. Today, the town is a beehive of activity. Anna Banana looks back at where they have come from.
The
army first came and built a unit. And that's how we came one by one with our children. That's when ActionAid came to our rescue.
Here in the middle of Africa's biggest freshwater lake, Victoria, are a people witnessing unique challenges in a unique environment. Out of the 82 islands that make the Kalangala district archipelago, 62 are inhabited. However, schools are found in only 11 islands. In some cases, children have had to move on the boats to and from the school every day, and sometimes they don't report to school at all. Because of poor enrollment, government with the help of ActionAid came up with a multi-grade school system. Fatima Nakazibwe, a teacher at Buswa Primary School, explains.
2 classes were joined and a teacher was supposed to handle those 2 classes under one roof.
With the help of Kadefo, Kalangala has a number of boarding primary schools. This is meant to keep children in class and also to avoid the sail on the waters every day.
They met the parents, they met the school management committees, we had meetings with the district education office, and then the best proposal was to come up with the dormitories. I'm very sure that before all of this intervention, performance was not good. But now, year by year, we are progressing.
In some areas, we even empower some members of the local government who replicate our methodology down into their system. I think this is an area where I think ActionAid has done quite a lot. And we have been working very closely with the Ministry of Education.
Education challenges aside, the people of Kalangala have had to battle the HIV pandemic way above the national average. Fishermen are found of engaging in very risky sexual behavior as prostitution flourishes. Through local NGOs, ActionAid has been able to fight stigma and find alternative means of income for the people living with HIV. These men and women of Mulabana landing site are battling the disease in an amazing way.
The women in this area should stop being ashamed of their status and participate in the development activities available instead of waiting for aid.
Those who had given up are now fighting back with impressive results. Kasambia Town Council in Mubende is vibrant today because of the electricity transformer that was supplied by ActionAid. We find young men at work. They are now pushing government to give them another transmitter. The former country director, Charles Businge, witnessed the transformation of Kasambia Trading Center in Mubende. He once worked as a field officer for ActionAid in the 90s.
In Mubende and Mitiana, I think there was a significant investment in infrastructure. When you say what change really took place, we were able to see a good number of people having access to schools. We were able to see a good number of people having access to water, and we significantly in Mubende and Mitiana reduced the distances women and children were walking to reach water points.
From the resettlement program to the people with disability in central Uganda, a little bit of help has catapulted them to greater heights. Kinyinya School for the Deaf here in Kyegegwa is a humbling experience to many visitors. We are led to this school by, of all people, a blind man, Mr. John Nyandera, who is also chairman of people with disabilities in Kyegegwa and a councillor at the district.
We have the office where you can go and get information, where the deaf community can go and in fact share their issues. So there is a contact. They have the office, they have the staff. So they have the platform, they have that forum, they have facilitated it.
These children, who could have otherwise been pushed aside, are now pursuing education despite their hearing impairments. We find them attending a church sermon on a Sunday morning. Most of these buildings at the school were constructed with the help from ActionAid. Attitude towards people with disability has greatly changed. For example, John Nyandera was elected by the able-bodied to head the District Natural Resources Committee. While these people at Kinyinya were moving forward, the people in Nambieso Sub-County Apache District were battling a common problem in Uganda today. Their area is water-stressed. Women would literally sleep at a borehole to be able to fetch any water. Now with an extra borehole and a vibrant water management committee in place, women have to think about other issues like savings and increasing their produce. Here in neighboring Chawente sub-county, a village store has helped farmers negotiate for better prices of their produce. Part of the building is now a village bank.
10 years, the 4 villages who are the owners of that store are benefiting a lot. Annually they sit down and then they portion the benefits. Sometimes they channel to support the neighboring school like the one we have seen. Sometimes direct benefit from the cash per household.
What stands out more is not the material help or money given by ActionAid, but the building of a vibrant population who know their rights and responsibilities. For example, the people of Apache have made it difficult for the corrupt to thrive. The office of Tomo Ponya of the Apache Anti-Corruption Coalition is full of evidence of the powerful and mighty who have come down after having been exposed.
We unearthed fraud of more than 30 million shillings in court where the court officials were receiving money, court bail, and not receiving court bail. Police bond is free. And now people know that police bond is free. Now people know that court bail, when you pay money for court bail, then it is supposed to be receipted.
DAC has grown to become a respectable organization, with its leaders being invited to offer help in the fight against corruption outside Uganda. Oponya is simply now a consultant on local governance issues in East Africa.
That is where ActionAid takes a lead. We strengthen these partners to be able to implement programs. So in the area of capacity building, our partners have actually had a lot of benefits.
There are such numerous examples of people and organizations that have grown so big after that initial shot in the arm by ActionAid. For example, TASO, a renowned organization in the world, started after a conversation between the former country director of ActionAid, Colin Williams, and TASO founder, Noreen Kaleva.
He was actually infected by our passion. He decided, against all odds, and I say against all odds because at that time there were very few agencies, be them national or international, that were willing to invest in the lives of people who have been tested HIV positive.
But that is not the only person who has claimed the ladder of influence. Asumputa Ikiriza and the methodologies of ActionAid have greatly impacted on the Ministry of Local Government, where she now works.
About ActionAid is that once it touches you, it will never leave you the same. I have imported, if I can use that word, significant chunks of the ActionAid methodology, poverty eradication methodology, from the non-government organization that ActionAid was to government. You look around, if you look any development grant moving to the local governments, if you see any capacity building grant moving to the local governments, if you see any capacity building framework being implemented in the local governments, these are direct importations, but of course customized to fit government.
There is an army of people who have influenced government and civil society a great deal. They include this lady, Jen Iga of Nakaseta Women's Group. She has been transformed from being a housewife to a regional consultant on civil society matters.
We are using the knowledge, the methodology. We call it even fuel that ActionAid left with us. And we started working in 3 villages in Nakaseta Parish. We started using the methodology, organizing those members, sitting down, identifying the issues, prioritizing them, analyzing them, linking them, and we started lobbying from the sub-county to the district.
It is not just ladies, men too have added value in their lives. The mayor of Mubende Town Council was in the early 90s a licensed teacher, but through adult education program of ActionAid, he upgraded to grade 3 teacher, to grade 5, and now a university graduate. Ziwa has a story of a total turnaround.
ActionAid by then, in early 90s up to 2000s, around there, opened people's eyes and enriched us with the knowledge, which has managed us to survive to the levels that we are today.
Whereas needs-based approach then was crucial, fundamentally, it is the empowering of local communities that has caused a major impact on governance and service delivery. Schools, health centers, water points, and community stores have been constructed almost across the nation. There are individuals whose education was sponsored by ActionAid, and today they are serving the nation as doctors, teachers, and lawyers, as well as in other professions. These 30 years have been a major building block.
We are inspired by what is likely to happen to this wonderful nation, and we want to make a contribution to see to it that Uganda and its aspirations are achieved with the modest resources that ActionAid can deploy, human and financial. For we believe, as an organization, that the indignity and injustice that poverty is actually perpetuated by unequal power relations that exist from the family level to global governance institutions. So by investing in transforming the position of ordinary people, they will climb that ladder of decision making and become the change they want to see.
What started as just an idea in 1982 has grown into a reputable organization touching millions of lives across Uganda. This is a story of a continuous amazing journey of an international anti-poverty agency working in more than 40 countries around the world.